What's going on, Saints fans? Welcome into today's afternoon/evening video, no matter where you are or how you're watching. We always appreciate the Who Dat Nation for making Saints Now by Chat Sports a part of their day. For this video, ESPN, they recently put out an article. Matt Miller had his 7-round full mock draft, every single selection. So I'm going to react to all of the picks that he had for the New Orleans Saints in this video and give you my take. But really quick, this is why you subscribe to Saints Now by Chat Sports. This article and this mock draft was behind a paywall. And if you want to get there, you got to get $120 per year to ESPN and Mickey Mouse. You know what you don't have to do? Pay a penny to subscribe to Saints Now by Chat Sports. So lock us in, hit that sub button if you're a diehard Saints fan and you want free Saints coverage. So let's start off with round one of this ESPN mock draft. First things first, Cam Ward went to the Tennessee Titans. Abdul Carter, Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, Mason Graham. I was heartbroken at number 6 overall when Trent McDuffie went to the Las Vegas Raiders. Armand Membu at number 7. Jalen Walker at number 8. And the New Orleans Saints at number 9 overall selected Jahdae Barron, the cornerback, the defensive back, the versatile freak out of Texas. And I'll just say this right now. I am a fan of this selection. I do like the idea of drafting Jahdae Barron. However, there is a conversation to be had. There were quite a few nice names still available. Just to name a couple, Will Campbell. You also had Tyler Warren still available. You had a handful of running backs. You had a handful of other players. You had some defensive guys. Will Johnson, Malachi Starks, a lot of names out there. But ESPN's Matt Miller had Jahdae Barron going to the Saints, and this is why. Barron can play inside or outside cornerback, and some teams even like him at safety. I can see him as a Trent McDuffie clone with high upside at outside corner, even if he starts his career in the slot. And one of the things that I love about Jahdae Barron is the versatility. And I think that he is a player who needs to be who needs to have the opportunity to show what he's capable of, because I think that he is a guy who can have a really good impact for the New Orleans Saints. Some pros for him in terms of his scouting profile and his draft profile. He has a very, very high football IQ, and for me, that is something that I really love about this player. The size is there, the play strength is there, the ball skills are very nice. He has extremely quality versatility, and he can line up at any defensive back spot. He is a, quote, big nickel corner, and which that means is he can line up in the nickel. He is a big physical presence, and he's also really good with route recognition. And he's a very physical run defender, very capable and very willing. And that's something that the New Orleans Saints definitely can benefit from with a guy like Jahdae Barron. And honestly, I was talking about this with the Chat Sport guys. You could cross-train him as a safety, and you could potentially have him line up kind of similar to like a Tyrann Mathieu at the beginning of his career, and have him take over as a defensive, Swiss Army knife, if you will, a few years into his tenure with the Saints. And I will say this, considering how the board fell, I do like this selection. My take on the first round has been consistently go get an offensive weapon, not a quarterback, a running back, a tight end, a wide receiver, somebody who can give the overall skill level on the offense a boost. But I really like this. If the board falls the way that it did in this mock draft, I don't hate the idea of going Jahdae Barron. I think he can be a very versatile, very quality football player. Now, Tyler Warren was available, and they did bring back Juwan Johnson, so it is worth noting the Saints could possibly go with Tyler Warren, and that is a guy who's been very popular in these mock drafts. So if you had to pick, which one of these two guys would you take? Jahdae Barron or Tyler Warren? Just get down in the comments and share your thoughts. Comment their initials down below. Now, ESPN, let's go to round 2. I hate this selection. I hate this pick. Quinn Ewers, round 2, 40 overall. I hate it. I understand that the Texas Longhorns saw quite a bit of New Orleans Saints presence at their pro day. The Saints brass, they were out there. They took some guys to dinner in Austin right after Miami's pro day. I hate this pick. It is way too early in my opinion, but let's see what Matt had to say in terms of why he made this selection. So Matt Miller's saying Quinn Ewers has injury concerns, but he did lead the Longhorns to the CFP semifinals in back-to-back seasons. He's a touch and timing passer who could fit new coach Kellen Moore's offense. Ewers doesn't add value as a runner and must work at seeing the field faster, but his arm talent and mechanics are fits for a future NFL starter. And look, I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat this. I don't like this pick. It's not that I hate Quinn Ewers as a prospect. I think at 40 overall, though, the Saints have much bigger needs. And adding a quarterback, and not even a great quarterback, like I'd argue he's like quarterback 4, 5, or something like that. Now, I'm not going to go to 6, but he's not even in the top 3 quarterbacks in this class, in my opinion. I don't like this selection, man. And I do think Quinn Ewers is a player who is capable. I think if you have him with a good coach and with a good scheme, you can actually develop him into a nice player. I just hate it at number 40. The number 71 overall selection, didn't like it that much better. Jalen Royals, wide receiver out of Utah State. And, I want to make something explicitly clear here. This has nothing to do with Jalen Royals as a football player. I just don't like the fit in what the New Orleans Saints need. But this is what Matt Miller had to say. Wide receiver Chris Olave's long-term future is in question after multiple concussions, and the Saints are desperate for receiver help. Jalen Royals is a run-after-catch prospect with the lower body strength to execute every route from the slot. Now, I will say this, adding a slot specialist, I'm okay with, and I think that would be a good addition. And I think that Derek Carr, since he is going to be the starting quarterback next year, could benefit from having a slot guy. Remember all the good run that he had with Third and Hunter Renfrow? Those typically worked out well. I just think the Saints have a specific need at wide receiver. They need a big-bodied physical presence, not a guy who's 6 foot, maybe 205 pounds soaking wet. I just want the Saints to be smart with their selections. I would love a Savion Williams, a Trey Harris, Jack Besh, Jaden Higgins, Trent McDuffie. One of those big-bodied, physical, dominant guys is what I would prefer to get in the draft, but I also don't hate the idea of getting Jalen Royals. We do have a wide receiver that might fit that size profile here in a little bit, so stick around. And also, just stick around a little bit longer because I got to tell you about Factor Meals, today's presenting sponsor. I absolutely love their product, and they taste so good. They're nutritious, and they are chef-made gourmet meals that make eating well easy. They're dietitian approved and ready to heat and eat in just a few minutes, so you can fuel right and feel great no matter what life throws at you. Get started at factormeals.com/SaintsChat50 off and use code SaintsChat50 off to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. With 40 options across 8 dietary preferences on the menu each week, it's easy to pick meals tailored to your goals. Choose from preferences like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, or Keto. And in fact, with the Factor Keto, you can check out the clinical trial, lose up to 8 pounds in 8 weeks with Factor Keto meals. Based on randomized controlled clinical trials with Factor Keto, results will vary depending on diet and exercise. And I love my Factor meals because I'm a busy guy and I'm always on the move. So rather than having to drive through and get some fast food, I pop in one of these Factor meals and I'm able to have a delicious, nutritious meal in just a few minutes at home. Eat smart with Factor. Get started today. Factormeals.com/SaintsChat50 off and use code SaintsChat50 off to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. All of that information is in the comments and description of this video. Shout out to Factor for sponsoring. Alrighty, I actually want to just take a quick second. A couple bad picks. This is one I really like. JT Tuimoloau. JT Tuimoloau. I tried saying this 15 times before filming it, and I'm terrible with names. JT Tuimoloau. I think I nailed it there. Number 93 overall, the edge rusher out of Ohio State. I love this selection, and I think that he is a player who can be really, really talented for the New Orleans Saints. ESPN saying the Saints are still trying to replace Trey Hendrickson, who left after the 2020 season. I would agree there. They don't have a guy who's taken over as a dominant pass rusher since Trey Hendrickson's left. Tuimoloau went off in the CFP with 6.5 sacks in the Buckeyes' 4 postseason wins. And I really like this selection. He is a player who logged 12.5 sacks in 2024. I think that is really, really nice production. Ohio State clearly went on a nice run in the college football playoff. They are playing against some quality teams, although you may say the Big Ten isn't that great of a conference. They're playing against some good football teams, and he put up good production against quality teams. So I really like the selection, and I think at the pick that we got it at feels like it could be a potential steal. But, of course, we have to see how the development works. Maybe even with the new scheme in Kellen Moore's defense, or not Kellen Moore's, Brandon Staley's defense, maybe he could be a good fit for that new scheme right there. So let's keep going. Round 4, 112 overall, Wyatt Milum, the guard from West Virginia, a player who actually can possibly, or he's a tackle for West Virginia, but now we could move him to a guard. In case you guys didn't know, the PFF grades are absolutely incredible. Over the course of 3 years, 3 years, over 1,100 pass blocking snaps at left tackle. He did not allow a single sack, and he only allowed 6 hurries, 0 hits last season. Milum is a strong run blocker between the tackles with good power at contact, and he has heavy and reliable hands and pretty solid grip strength. He can get in trouble when he truly is left on an island in pass pro, which is why a move on the inside could make the most sense. That's why we designated him as a guard, because I think the Saints, if they make this selection, it would be a guard, not a tackle. And he is a player who's very, very strong against the run. You saw that on his PFF numbers. And I'll just say this, the left guard spot is extremely concerning. The Saints did sign Dylan Radins, and he does have some reps at the left guard spot. However, I like this pick here because he's a proven player who's done it at a high level for multiple seasons in a row, and he's also only 23 years old, so you could have a guy like Wyatt Milum around for the foreseeable future because he's just so young. I like this pick. I think it's a strong one, so let me know what you guys think. Now, sticking around in round 4, 131 overall, in case you guys didn't know, 2 third-round picks, 2 fourth-round picks, 6 picks in the top 150. You have an opportunity to nail these selections. Jordan James, the running back out of Oregon. This guy is a bowling ball, ladies and gentlemen. He does have a little bit of a receiving ability. However, that's not a big highlight of his game. I will tell you this. Lance Zierlein, he described him as a physical runner with a compact frame and lower center of gravity. He punches way above his weight class when it comes to breaking tackles, and I think that that's something the Saints could benefit from. They wanted Jamal Williams to be just that. He clearly was not that. So, maybe Jordan James can fill in and be that void. He does lack a little bit of finesse, but he has the ability to suddenly cut and change direction. So do not at all minimize the athleticism and the agility. But he does have the ability also to get tough yards through the contact balance and being able to run through contact and all that good stuff. So, if he can do that, maybe you can develop into a larger role for the New Orleans Saints. And I'll just say this. I think the Saints have to escape this draft with a running back. You can argue any round. I'm okay with most of these prospects because this running back class is extremely deep. Nick Underhill even reporting the Saints are doing a lot of homework on the running back position. This is a need, whether you like it or not. We can sit here and talk about Alvin Kamara's extension. We can sit here and talk about how good of a football player he is, but I'm not here to argue with you. I'm here to tell you running back is a need for the New Orleans Saints. If you disagree, I don't know what to tell you other than tell me why in the comment section, but I can tell you I think it's a big need. And if you agree with me that running back is a need for this football team, I need you to like this video. Hit the thumbs up icon if you want the Saints to draft a running back this offseason because, you got Alvin Kamara, you got Kendre Miller, who has not been healthy. Then what? CEH is pretty cool. Then what? You don't got much. Running back's a need. So I better see as many views, get that many likes on this video. All righty, let's keep this thing rocking and rolling. 6th round, the New Orleans Saints selected Elijah Roberts, the edge rusher from the SMU Mustangs. Round 6, number 184. I think that this is good value for a player like Elijah Roberts. In 2023 and in 2024, he combined for 23.5 tackles for loss, 17.5 sacks, and 4 forced fumbles. This guy put up good numbers, not just at SMU, but he also transferred from the U in Miami. So he does have the pedigree, and he was a player who was active in the college football playoff. He was a big reason why SMU was able to achieve playing in the college football playoff. And look, I think that I would be cool with this pick. I think in terms of where the selection is and the value of the pick, I think that's fine. And to be honest, the Saints pass rush just needs an overhaul. Carl Granderson, I like him. But you got to get more. If you're the edge rusher 1, if you're the number 1 pass rusher on this defense, we need more production out of you. Cam Jordan, he is not getting any younger. You have to get edge rushers. You have to get guys who can rush the passer, who can contain the quarterback, and can be a force to be reckoned with on defensive line. The Saints defensive line just has not been good the past few years. So I'm okay with doubling up on edge rusher and doubling up on defensive linemen. This might be my favorite pick of any mock draft I've ever seen. We're going to start this thing off right. Ooh, Pig Suey. By the way, we're beating Texas Tech's ass in the Sweet 16 tonight. You better believe it. Armstrong, wide receiver out of Arkansas, a 7th-round selection. I'm here to tell you, this is a steal of a draft pick. The numbers are not going to jump off the screen at you, and that's totally okay. I can get why you might be concerned. 78 catches, 1,100 yards, and only 1 touchdown? What the hell is that about? Well, when you're the size of Andrew Armstrong and you have an offense that is very, very run-heavy and that has Taylon Green running the offense. You had Jaquindon Jackson. You had Isaac Tesla. You had a lot of targets and a lot of weapons in Bobby Petrino's offense. So, I'm okay with the lack of touchdowns right there. I mean, he still had over 1,100 yards. And, I'll say this might be the most underrated pick or underrated player in the NFL draft this year. I get a lot of CeeDee Lamb vibes. I see a lot of CeeDee Lamb comps online and stuff, and I can just tell you, this guy makes big plays in big moments when you need him to. And those are the types of guys at the New Orleans Saints. Big-time players making big-time plays in big-time moments. Andrew Armstrong came up with a lot of those for the Razorbacks last year. I am a Razorback grad, so I'm going to love any pick the Saints make. That is a hog. And I can tell you right now, this right here, bias aside, watch the tape, watch the film. Go look at his highlights. Andrew Armstrong, I promise you, is worth a 7th-round pick. And honestly, that is disrespectful that he went in the 7th round. If the Saints can walk away with Andrew Armstrong, I will be a very, very happy camper. To round things out, last pick, Jahdae Barron, the center out of Arkansas State. The Red Wolf is headed to New Orleans in this mock draft. I don't think that it makes a ton of sense to go get a center, but I will also say this, in the 7th round, you get what you get. You don't throw a fit. And also, if Erik McCoy is dealing with injuries and he does have to miss time, maybe this is a player who can fill in, since we saw Erik McCoy suffer for some injuries last year. Now, let's just recap this whole mock draft. Here's how it went for Matt Miller's ESPN mock draft. Jahdae Barron, Quinn Ewers, Jalen Royals, JT Tuimoloau, Wyatt Milum, Jordan James, Elijah Roberts, the steal of the draft, Andrew Armstrong, and then Jahdae Barron. I graded this a B-. I would have loved to go a different route in round 2. Round 1, I'm okay with that pick. Round 3, I probably would have gone somewhere different. But overall, I thought this was a solid mock draft, so I went the B-. What do y'all think? Get down in the comments section. Y'all stay golden. We will see you next time.